after all of the headlines the last week or so about the disproportionate effect the virus is having in communities of color. And so when I look at these protests, what I see are a bunch of white people essentially saying, oh, it's affecting those people, so why do I have to change my life?
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Liberal Expression. The week started out with the leftist media hearing racist dog whistles once again. All because President Trump announced that with most of the nation under stay-at-home orders, he would like to temporarily shut down immigration.
Lester, President Trump announced tonight that his new immigration executive order, once it takes effect, will suspend immigration for 60 days. He also says it'll only apply to immigrants seeking permanent residency. It will not apply to those entering on a temporary basis. Critics say the order is a political dog whistle aimed at energizing the president's base.
Business closures, travel restrictions, but, you know, the media's all cool with that. But if you try to stop immigration, well, that's strict.
Well, David, you're right. There were strict orders. There are strict orders already in place, but even a temporary pause would be unprecedented in this country.
Yes, it's unprecedented. Kind of like the whole current coronavirus situation we're in. But while the leftists don't want a temporary stop on immigrants coming in, they certainly don't like Americans going out, especially if those Americans are protesting that they want to be open for business.
And it's no coincidence that all of this escalation that we're seeing is happening right as Joe Biden has solidified the Democratic nomination, right as polls show that Biden has a lead over Trump and Trump is in trouble and underwater. And typical, Trump is treating civil disobedience, trying to create racial tensions, inflame them, and change the narrative to take attention away from his failures and put it somewhere else.
Yeah, including making China the new Mexico, the new scary non-white people are the Chinese.
Oh yeah, MSNBC panels are all about how people who want to go back to work or church, those people are racist.
I think it's really interesting is how these protests have started after all of the headlines the last week or so about the disproportionate effect the virus is having in communities of color. And so when I look at these protests, what I see are a bunch of white people essentially saying, oh, it's affecting those people, so why do I have to change my life for them?
It always comes down to racism with the liberal media, doesn't it? I mean, don't bring up things like the Bill of Rights when talking about these protesters, but racism, oh yeah. It's almost like these leftists are rooting for the closures and rooting for the coronavirus.
And I wonder what you think about whether or not there's some silver lining there, that some of the things that we've been talking about for 3 years may be finally catching up with him.
Oh, well, yeah, for Nicole Wallace, the silver lining is that it hurts Trump, and that's what they've been trying to do for the last 3 years. At least she admits it. But their tactics, they're not changing. Again this week, it was a quote from an unnamed Democratic source who claims they overheard a phone call with the president.
Weijia Zhang is at the White House tonight. And Weijia, what else did the governors ask for?
Oh, Nora, they are still begging the White House to help them get testing supplies. And one senior official who works for a Democratic governor who listened in on that call said it is, quote, insane and criminal. The administration is not doing more to help.
Oh, well, no wonder they quoted the person they can't name. I mean, maybe it's that same unnamed whistleblower that made claims about a call to the Ukrainian president.
And given that we already have the call record, we don't need the whistleblower who wasn't on the call to tell us what took place during the call. We have the best evidence of that.
Well, when they can't find a good source that they can't name who listens into other people's phone calls, sometimes they just simply have to make crap up. Morning Joe this week.
Per capita, the United States of America, the most technologically advanced, the most medically advanced, the most scientifically advanced nation in the world, is far, far behind other countries when it comes to testing per patient, testing per person, testing per seniors. It's like, it's like comparing Delaware and California. California can say, yes, we have more of everything, but maybe you don't per capita, and maybe that hurts.
Maybe telling false information, maybe that hurts. Maybe a little bit. Oh, look, the U.S. is only behind Italy in COVID testing per capita, but facts, hey, who needs them? It's MSNBC. There's an agenda to push.
But here's one crazy idea that may be worth attempting now. Universal basic income. UBI is a big deal. It's a big idea. There are lots of versions of it, but it goes something like this. Every citizen, regardless of their employment status, gets a modest income from the state, no strings attached.
Pushing a leftist agenda, spreading false information, using those damning undisclosed sources. You know, the leftist media has been on a roll for years.
Welcome. I want to show the president's job approval rating trend in our new NBC Wall Street Journal poll. Here it is from April of 2019. I want to show you these numbers here. 46 approved, 51 disapproved. Now think about what's happened, guys. We had an impeachment and a pandemic. So an impeachment and a pandemic has happened in between April of 19 and April of 2020, and the president's job ratings are 46% approve, 51% disapprove. Peter Alexander, obviously the durable nature of the president at times it knows no bounds. A pandemic, an impeachment, nothing seems to break through there.
And I don't think they're going to stop trying to break on through, do you? Of course, we'll be back with more of their wackiest highlights next week. I'm Eric Shiner for MRC-TV. Please check out MRC-Store for great conservative gear, MRCTV.org for great stories and videos. And speaking of those videos, please be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for watching.